Hi team, welcome to today's webinar focused around AttackIQ and DORA regulations. My name is Jose Barajas. I'm the VP of Global Sales Engineering, and I'll be taking you through today's session. I'm going to just give folks, a little 30 seconds to settle in. I know a lot of us are back-to-back meeting-wise, want a quick break or grab a coffee, so I'll just give you guys about 30 seconds and get started. So thanks. All right, well, there goes the courtesy time. With that, we'll get started. Again, welcome everyone to today's session. The session today is focused around AttackIQ and DORA regulations. My name is Jose Barajas, and I'm the VP of Global Sales Engineering here at AttackIQ. And I'll be walking you through today's session. So let's just jump right into it, starting with a quick agenda just to give you a sense of what we're going to walk through. So to start, I'm going to give a quick introduction to DORA, the regulation that we're here to talk about today. From there, we'll talk about the challenges with meeting DORA requirements, give you some context around there. From there, those of you who may not know about AttackIQ, so we're going to give you some context about us, what we do. And then from there, we can talk about how our solution can help simplify the DORA requirements, and then how you can actually go ahead and test against DORA with AttackIQ. All of you on the call today will be able to go ahead and sign up and test DORA today if you wanted to. So definitely stick around or feel free to follow up on our website directly, sign up for Flex to do some DORA testing at the end. But I'm definitely going to finish by showing you what that testing looks like and the outputs that you'll get as part of the testing with AttackIQ. So that's what I have in store for you today. Just really quick, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll get to finish my thought and then we'll see them and can respond accordingly. There's quite a lot of you on here today, so we don't get to all of your questions. We'll make sure to follow up after the fact with the email that you registered to go ahead and follow up with any questions that we might have missed during the webinar. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. And, starting with a quick introduction to DORA, DORA is a European Union regulation, that was really introduced to help bolster the cybersecurity resilience of financial institutions. Now, the deregulation you'll see in the next slide, I'll talk about this a little bit more, but it really focuses and is very applicable to financial institutions, things like banks, insurers, investment firms, and related industries to the financial services sector. But an important thing to note here is that third-party ICTs will also be required to meet these requirements. And at the end of the day, the key objective of DORA is to strengthen the cybersecurity and operational resilience of the financial sector overall. With the financial sector being quite central to a lot of what we do here, or just in general, obviously this means that a lot of us are going to have to meet this regulation and get ahead of it because it's definitely going to expand in scope, I think, given what this is asking for. Now, DORA itself, right now we're at was introduced in 2022. A critical thing is why DORA now, at least from the AttackIQ perspective, is it's actually going to be applicable in 2025. Right now, we're actively sitting in that transition period where essentially this is the grace year. But starting 2025, it's January, I believe, the fines will start. So very important to not only do this because it's the right thing to do as cybersecurity practitioners and ensure that we are able to mitigate the latest threats, but also important because this regulation is going to start having hard fines. So for those of you that may be trying to be more proactive, trying to take the concept of breach and attack simulation or threat-informed defense and emulating attacker behaviors, I'd like you to know DORA is really, really in alignment with you. So from that perspective, this is another reason to get your organization to maybe do some of these. And at the end of the day, financial institutions are simply going to have to do some adjustments to comply with DORA to include a concept which is called, threat-led penetration testing, along with a number of monitoring type of things, and finally streamline reporting so that these regulators can have a standardized view of things as the idea. And then, the idea with that is you can then go ahead and, assess yourself as a financial institution, but then also, as I talk about what we do here at AttackIQ, we could also, we'll provide you a way for tests, any third-party ICT providers as part of that process. Now, some of the key requirements from DORA are, management of your ICTs, incident reporting. There's very stringent, guidelines around incident reporting. Most of us already had similar things. For example, at AttackIQ, we're SOC 2 Type 2 certified, and there's definitely some incident reporting guidelines based on that and NIST that we prescribe through here. DORA has also come out with some as well that you need to be in knowledge of and be considerate of. From there, operational resilience testing, that's really where we're going to focus on here today. The traditional pen test is not enough according to DORA. They're asking for this concept of a threat-led penetration testing, which I'm actually going to talk about next, since that's really the area where AttackIQ can support you as well. And then finally, third-party risk management. Given what we've observed with things like Log4j, in general, our industry has become more focused around this. Well, DORA explicitly provides some guidelines around this on how to manage these third-party risks, specifically from your ICT provider. So a lot of different, again, requirements and specific needs from the perspective of DORA. What we're going to focus on today is going to be around the concept of a threat-led penetration testing, which DORA suggests. And, threat-led penetration testing really just involves, let's focus on what real threat actors are doing in the real world and assess our environments based on that, right? The standard, a pen test scan to see if there's any vulnerabilities out there. DORA is saying that's simply not enough to assess an organization's resilience against active threats. Hence, this concept of threat-led penetration testing. And at the end of the day, the key aspects of this are these scenarios need to be, specific to the threat landscape relevant to the financial industry. And then these scenarios should be representative of the tactics, techniques, and procedures that these threat actors typically use. And the benefits from this is, you're going to be able to identify some critical weaknesses that you may not have otherwise. Vulnerabilities and managing that is definitely important, not dismissing that. But by actually running the threats that the attackers we know are going to run, it gives us a better understanding of our response, our ability to recognize that attack, and most importantly, how we can actually be resilient against that attack. Based on these findings, we'll increase our detection and response and recovery and make plans accordingly. And then finally, overall, just improve the resilience would be the benefit of this versus kind of standardized, again, penetration testing that we've done historically in our industry. So that's DORA, a little bit of a focus of threat-led penetration testing where AttackIQ could really help you. By the way, the threat-led penetration test is also the heaviest part of this. Traditionally, these type of things will be run by red teams as an example, but I'm going to show you how you can accomplish it with AttackIQ. So to start, the challenges with meeting these requirements are several, starting with time constraints, right? Consultants have massive workloads, or your red teams, if you have them today, already are only covering so much of your topology. So from that perspective, that's going to be very difficult there. Beyond that, we have the skills gaps. Not all organizations have red teams dedicated on their organization to be able to do that. So from that perspective, we may not have the skills gap. We may have a skills gap at the organization, or even with some of our service providers as well. But from that perspective, this is a big kind of hurdle for DORA. As more and more folks want to do this, there's going to be a limited amount of folks that can accomplish this. And then finally, the planning process, decision process, the research process is a large task. Doing an analysis of all threat actor activities targeting the financial sector is probably not something you want to do as an organization. You probably want to focus on your core business. So from that perspective, these are some of the challenges we see. There's so many TTPs out there, folks struggle, but that's why we're here to help at AttackIQ, is to go ahead and help provide you, some content where we've already done all this work, so that you can focus on making improvements within your environment. So what we've done is we've actually gone ahead and we've simplified, DORA testing with our product called Flex. Flex is an on-demand agentless solution. You'll see today as I show you, you can actually sign up for it for free, and we're giving away DORA testing for free to the world. Now there's 2 levels of DORA testing you'll see, but you'll be able to do some of that testing today if you wanted to. And what we've done is, we've out of the box have alignment with DORA. AttackIQ is a research partner and does research on TTPs on a regular basis. We've gone ahead and done that analysis for you. We've curated the TTPs that are representative of threat actor behavior. With that, you can actually run it in any one of your environments and immediately get an understanding of where your gaps are. And then we provide mitigations on how to go ahead and address that. Now, the way that we've approached conducting this is, first and foremost, we identified the critical technologies and assets that we wanted to make sure, the financial industry was using to make sure that we were assessing them as part of this process. We then went ahead and mapped all adversary behavior targeting the financial industry. Again, at AttackIQ, we're research partners with MITRE. We've done things like adversary emulations in the past. So from that perspective, we took the same kind of tactics, but broadened that to the entirety of that, which was targeting the financial sector. From there, we were able to create the relevant attack scenarios. Essentially, we found the top 20 TTPs leveraged by the financial, by threat actors targeting the financial services organization, and use that as a basis for developing them. And then finally, we curated those relevant scenarios and have provided both a DORA basic, which 90th percentile of our population is known to mitigate, and then the 70th percentile, the advanced. So giving you guys some things that you should absolutely mitigate, and then some other things that will be a little bit more difficult, really giving you a broad sense of the TTPs threat actors are using, so you can ensure that you're resilient against them as well. Now, by running this content that we've put together, as part of this, we'll be providing you a report. This report is going to give you an understanding of the research that we've done, a score giving understanding of, given the TTPs that we ran, how do you rank based on the outcomes? And then finally, we'll be giving you any mitigations that you may require, assuming that we found a gap. We'll be giving you the mitigation so that you can go ahead and resolve the issues within your organization as they are found. Now, how is this different than kind of the traditional kind of pen test workflow? If we're to do this kind of the standard and traditional way, it's a long process from, sourcing the personnel for an assessment, whether it's a third party or, someone in-house, again, scoping and defining what you're going to run, doing the research to define what's going to run, designing the test and execution, and then finally having to write the reports and then getting those reported back to the client. Here with AttackIQ, we want to help you by streamlining this process by really making it so that we've actually already selected the tests that you should focus on from a DORA perspective. We've done the research. You can actually download the test package. Again, I'll show you a demo here in a minute. It takes less than 5 minutes for this DORA assessment to run. What you'll see is with AttackIQ is when you run it, we'll actually create an encrypted JSON output that you can upload back into our platform to go ahead and produce a report. And then finally, you'll get your report where we highlight what TTPs were ran, what were your results against those TTPs, and then again, mitigation recommendations so that you can address those issues, assuming that they were found. And by going through this process and taking the time to actually, run this, from this perspective, very price sensitive. The cost of getting, people on the ground to do the planning process, it gets quite expensive. So, from that perspective, you're only paying per result, not per engagement here with AttackIQ. And again, it's completely self-serve. We joke about it, but it's the reality. Even my non-technical mom could actually run this. That's how much we've simplified through Flex, the ability to do testing. This is also a great way for you to quickly accelerate your DORA testing for, large organizations, enterprise level organizations. You may want to do something more extensive than just this basic assessment that we've developed. You may have entire threat intel teams tracking this stuff, but this is a great way of start. Finally, this is a great way of up-leveling your internal teams. Making sure that they understand, these concepts of DORA, but also the threats that DORA is asking us to test against. And then finally, this is a great way of giving visibility. You can deploy these, very easily anywhere. Because of the agentless approach of Flex, it's very easy to get this into, your hands here. And at the end of the day, right, our goal here is we've done the research from the perspective of DORA, and what we're going to do is we're going to help you identify the gaps. We're going to help you prioritize those gaps through this concept of weaknesses, so that you can have a list of tasks that you need to address. And then finally, give you a nice consolidated report that can be used to convey it back to your group internally or to any regular that may be asking, hey, what have you done for DORA so far? You can show them what you tested against, what your results were, and ideally, if we found a gap, that you've improved it and closed that gap, which is exactly the goal of DORA, which is to make our environments better and to improve our security posture and be more resilient through all of this. So that's all I got in terms of introducing the concept of DORA, talking about AttackIQ and how we're going to facilitate some DORA testing. Let's actually now go ahead and let's actually take a look at this, but through a demo. All right. So to start, I just want to show everybody, if you just go to our website, AttackIQ.com, you can sign up for Flex and go ahead and sign up here. And as part of this, you'll go ahead and get 8 free credits. Anyone can sign up for this, 100% free. And this is our way of giving, back and making the world safer for compute is by providing free testing through Flex. But let me go ahead and show you the DORA component specifically so that you can understand how this works. Once you create your own Flex account, you'll see we'll have this getting started section here, which is really going to tell you how does the testing work from the perspective of AttackIQ. Here you can see that it's really simple to get started with testing. First, you're going to download the test package. There's going to be an executable that you download to your local environment. I'll show you in a moment. You can also create a link. Maybe you want someone else to run the package for you, maybe a third-party ICT provider as an example. You can give them a link and they can go ahead and download the package. Once the package is downloaded, you're going to go ahead and run the package. That package will generate an encrypted JSON output. You then need to upload that into the Analyze tab, which I'll show you in a moment, to then go ahead and analyze those details. From there, we'll simply go ahead and generate a report for you that's going to summarize the results and outcomes. So that's all it takes. Again, this is an agentless solution. We want to make testing simple and give it away from the world. And again, you can go ahead and sign up yourselves to do that. Now, this is just how this works. How do we go about testing? Let me go ahead and show you here in the Flex section. Within Flex, we have a variety of different assessment types, whether it's security baseline, adversarial emulation, or even emerging threats. But you'll see here we have a section called compliance, where we have testing for DORA Basic and then DORA Advanced. By signing up, you're going to get 8 credits, which means you can actually run the DORA Basic here for free. And you can see here we have a description of the DORA package. We have an understanding of exactly what are the TTPs that are going to be run as part of this package. And as you can see here, we can download the package directly as part of this process. We then have here our DORA Advanced package, which is going to also list out the TTPs that are made available there as part of that process. All right, so these are our DORA packages that we have here. Now, in order to run them, again, you're going to download them, run them on your local environment. I've actually already uploaded one here, so let's actually go ahead and show you what the output of DORA looks like here, starting with one of our DORA Basics ones. Oops, let's see here. All right, so here we have the DORA Advanced report. Let me go ahead and walk you through what you're going to get out of this report by running it. So to start, we're going to give you a very high-level introduction to the details of DORA and the DORA regulation, and then the scope of the DORA testing that we've conducted here. In the appendix, you'll find a much more extended summary of the research that was put into this, the selection process for the content, so that as you get questions for either internally or through your regulators, you can answer those questions effectively, or outright just give them the report so that they can see exactly how we came and arrived at these TTPs. As you can see, overall, we have a 64% coverage with what we ran here. So that's an interesting finding there. And then we take a look from a scoring mechanism perspective. We have here, based on the outcomes that we saw at the tactic level, this is the score that we've provided there from there. As you can see here, we're giving you a sense of the scope, meaning that over 90% of our population is known to mitigate this threat, and we can go ahead and this is the basis by which these DORA assessment TTPs were selected. And then here is where we do a very, very detailed breakdown of the TTPs themselves. So here you can see the defense evasion. It included these 4 TTPs. These are the technique IDs associated with each of these. And then finally, a description of these scenarios. What is the goal and objective of these scenarios? What are they doing, so that you can have that context as an analyst. Here we can see others as well, giving you that full detail of the threat. From there, we can then get an understanding per TTP that was ran. What was the output? As you can see here, there's about 4 items that were missed, and then some other items that were mitigated as part of this item there. Finally, we're not just going to tell you that something was not mitigated or not prevented. We're also going to give you mitigation recommendations. As you can see here, we have MITRE mitigations. We're listing out all the MITRE mitigations that were applicable based on the outcome results there. The other thing that we do is we'll provide signal rules. Here, as you can see, we're providing signal rules that can be used to actually detect this type of behavior as part of this process. And then finally, we'll also provide some mitigations that we provide ourselves directly from AttackIQ. If you want to have additional context and detail, I've explained this on the webinar today, but around how we made the selection of these TTPs, why were they selected, how the testing process works, all that is available for you in the appendix, so that you can go ahead and as you provide this to folks, they can have the full context and understanding about why these TTPs were selected. That's what you're going to get from an output of our DORA report perspective. But one other benefit of Flex I want to show you here is this concept of weaknesses. As you're running any given threat, and in this case, we're running threats for the purposes of DORA testing, we'll actually start to collect this concept of weaknesses. Weaknesses are representative of attacker behavior that was not mitigated, meaning that there's a potential weakness in your environment that exposes. One of these here is the ability to actually, malicious artifact can be successfully dropped to the file system. So let's take a look at this example weakness. For every weakness, we're going to provide a nice description of what that weakness entails, the MITRE TTP mappings that are relevant to that. We can see here the mitigation recommendations. We provide extensive mitigations for all the content that we produced. And then finally, you can look at the raw results. And the idea here is that you can see exactly what we've done, step by step. You can get things like SHA-SUM level details of what occurred as an example. So all this context and detail is available for you to leverage and use as part of that process. And if you wanted to run it again, you simply go ahead and rerun that Flex package, and let's see how those changes that you've made affected your security posture. Ideally, you're going to be correcting some of the issues that were previously found as part of this process here. So that's all I have for everyone today. I hope this was helpful in understanding overall DORA itself for those of you that may not be too familiar with it. A little bit about AttackIQ and with the work that we've done to help facilitate DORA testing, and then finally how you can do DORA testing yourself. So please feel free to again go to attackiq.com. You've signed up for Flex. You can go ahead and do your own DORA testing as well. Free out of the box. Again, the mission here at AttackIQ is to make the world safer for compute, and these are the ways that we help support that mission. So thanks everyone for your time, and see you next time.